Sexy. So we decided to play some Squad Leader Starter Kit 1. I need to. I'm not going to play Advanced Squad Leader or Squad Leader. It's just too much for me to tackle. I mean, this Starter Kit stuff, it has enough rules in it, to keep you occupied anyhow. So, this is pretty much what I'm going to do is I'll stick with all the Starter Kit stuff. So I wanted to get back in, do something a little lightweight. So we'll need to get on to Scenario 4 where you got a map now this is the Bulge, the opening sequences of the Bulge when all the Germans are rushing forward trying to punch holes through the lines. And we got the old Keystone Division, Norm Coda's boys, I guess it was they the 28th, I think? Could be wrong, but the 110th Regiment. And they, of course, they were all stretched pretty thin, relaxing in the Ardennes and everything when the Germans hit them. And the exact units here are elements K and M of the 3rd Battalion, 110th Regiment, and B Company from the 103rd Engineer Combat Battalion for the Americans, and the 11th Battalion, 2nd Battalion, 77th Regiment, 26th Volksgrenadier Division for the Germans come busting through. And the Germans have quite a bit of force. So in this scenario, you set up the Americans first, and the whole map is in play. The exit hexes are between this where my finger is, I1, and Y1 for the Germans. The Germans come on the map, and like I say, the initial thing is they're trying to punch through and move on up the roads here. So they come in anywhere on this side of the map. Well, the rules say set up the Germans first. So my first inclination was I'm setting up a front, so I got to try to cover the whole map with what I got. And the Americans were spread thin anyhow in the Ardennes. So I spread them out, trying to put machine guns and stuff in any possible place the Germans might enter from. And then, of course, I'm playing by myself, so I could have used a dice roll and said, okay, this will be Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3, Sector 4. They ended up coming in here. And there's a couple American units sitting back here that the Germans, when they dashed on in the first turn and all the firing went back and forth, the Americans weren't real successful, but the Germans, when they eventually got to fire, they ran these guys off. Literally ran them off. Once they were broken and had to rout. They were in the building, but they were adjacent to a good order German unit, so they had to get out. I could have low crawled out to the open hex and stayed there, but that'd probably been dumb. So I moved them, took a risk at the interdiction, and they survived it. Got back over to the woods, and then the Germans put fire on the next turn into the unit sitting over here that was in good order and chased them off anyhow. So, and the Americans that were sitting down here, well, there was one in this building here. They took care of him pretty quick. He eventually got trapped in here and never could get out. And the Germans pretty much just overran him. So you've got a 5.5 turn scenario, and I'm done in 2 1/3 turns because the game ends immediately when you meet the conditions. And the results we got from this right here are, as you can see, the Germans that exited the map over here, they had to get 10 victory points off. And for each full squad, it was 2 points. For a -1 leader, it was 2 points. For a -0 leader, it was 1 point. Well, they got 70 total points off the map in less than 3 turns. So we end up with a German immediate victory with 17 victory points, like I say, in under 3 turns. All right, conclusions. Well, I mean, I guess you could have. The Americans have to start in the hex row that ends in 4 and to the east. So that's why I had them all spread up here, trying to catch the Germans when they come on and as much fire as I could. But like I say, the Americans have 3 machine guns. You got to spread them out to make sure you cover any potential entry point. So I even had one down here in the orchards down low in the woods down here, and then had them stretch through the buildings and in the woods up here. And it just didn't work out. I really don't know how that deployment could change because, like I say, the Germans could come on from anywhere. They could come on here. If you don't put nothing up here, they come on here, get behind these woods, and then come in, and out they go. All right? Americans could probably, if you're stretched across the board, the odds of these guys sitting way down here, they're not going to get up there quick enough. It might take 2 or 3 turns to get there, even with double time. Using a road or being under leaders. There's some good leaders on this map, too. See, this one American unit here with the big, strong major they got here. They held up pretty good. But this was just too easy for the Germans to get across. I mean, if you knew, like if you played this scenario and said, okay, Americans, the Germans are coming in right here, and you know that from the start coming in up that road, then you could just stack everything up in here and put as much firepower as you can on them. But you don't know that. So This to me would be this is a great two-player scenario, because the American will have to set up first, and the German guy, he will get to choose where he's coming in at, which, even though I played a solo, similar effect, because I had to set the Americans up with the best possible coverage I thought I could provide, and then I still got to pick where the Germans came in at. All right, so Advanced Squad Leader, Starter Kit 1, scenario number 4. Welcome back, and we're going to shut this one down. I think we're going to move on to scenario 5. I'm trying to master this infantry part of this thing so I can move on to the guns and then move on to vehicles and catch up with old wardrobe there. All right, let's get this thing posted, and we'll talk to y'all soon.